Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Mike Plays RP1. RP1 is the mod pack that takes advantage of Realism Overhaul and Real Solar System mods amongst a collection of others to create a more historical type of experience with realistic rockets and realistic technology, and I am doing my best to work my way through the programs and contracts of the RP1 mod pack. And if you're interested in following along and trying this out for yourself, the entire list of mods as well as any relevant links are down there in the description below. But getting into where we're at last episode was entirely about building a Mach 2 fighter jet, and that fighter jet is now sitting in the building queue in the hangar. And if you're interested in following along with that build, it was there's a link to that episode up here at the top right. But also going on in the hangar is the recovery of the Bell X3. This is a rocket plane that's being recovered right now. It's not going to take too long to recover. And I got a couple of contracts in mind for both of these. So with the Bell X3, I want to try keep pushing it to higher and higher altitudes. It can go to the cockpit can keep the pilot alive up to 75 kilometers, so I kind of want to take advantage of that. So I do have this high altitude contract to get it up to 55 kilometers. I've not gotten up to an altitude of that magnitude yet before, so I want to see once I've recovered it whether it's capable of doing that. And the J-57 fighter jet, which I still, by the way, have to kind of decal out a little bit. Didn't quite get it done. We'll get into that just a little bit. I have this Mach 2 Supersonic Supersonic contract, which does require a jet and to travel at between 625 and 650 meters per second. Both contracts, of course, also require you to come back safely. Also being researched is coming up is Satellite Era's material science is being researched. It's due in, what do we got there, 74 days. And then on the heels of that is orbital rocketry. That's 107 days away. I'm going to wait until both of those two have been researched to give me better technology to help me build an orbit-capable rocket. So for the next little while, I think the emphasis is going to be on planes. Now, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure the hangar can only deal with one thing at a time. So while the Bell X3 is being recovered, the J-57 jet, nothing's happening with it. So I might have to get myself to a point where I'm just going to have to put the Bell X3 on hold, let the fighter jet get built, and then I'll have both of these things kind of in the hangar, so to speak, and we can roll them both out really quickly. But anyway, right now what I want to do is get to I got to go to integration, I got to pick the hangar, and why is there a Bell X3 being recovered and a Bell X3 sitting... Oh, no. That's normal. I understand what's going on. But I want to get into this guy. No. I don't understand. Sorry, I got to take a look at this. I got the Bell X3 being recovered, but then I have a Bell X3 being built. I think that's a mistake. Let's get back into integration. That is definitely a mistake. Let's scrap this one. Okay, that might make me feel better. That might be why this guy was on hold. I don't know. Not sure what happened there. I hope I didn't just make a mistake. But what I do want to do is take this guy, for sure, and dress it up a little bit. So this is the state at where it's at. We test flew it. It flew really well. It did the contract without too much difficulty. And then I got into painting it. But what I still want to do is put on some decals. And I'm looking at the color choices I made. I think I might NASA this thing up. NASA did use a jet not too dissimilar from this as a chase plane. I can't remember the actual name of the jet. I know there are people watching this video that definitely will remember. But I think what I'll do, let's see if we can get some decals going and make this thing kind of look a little bit NASA-like. We got to get into here, and we have these decals. It starts with, this is from the Conformal Decal mod. And it starts with always whatever your flag is, but then you can get in here and you can select a different one. And I'm pretty sure I got, yeah, like the NASA logos, I think is right here. There we go. That looks lovely. Kind of reposition them a little bit. Oh, that, I don't know why that Y suddenly. Okay, I'll have to go there, I suppose. That looks okay. Let's get some text involved. Always have to roll it the right way, and I'm so bad. There we are. I got on two-way symmetry. Yep. We'll just actually just have the word NASA here. And there is an actual NASA font, I know. There it is. How's that? That's looking okay. Do I want it black? Do I want to change colors? We can. Pretty sure. Set fill color. This up to white. White won't show up very well. I can drift towards the blue. Then that kind of just blends in with everything else. I think black might be just the way to go. We'll do that, and then we'll yeah, I think that's good. And then we'll get another one. And there we go. This is the J57, so I'm simply going to make this. And all I named this after was, by the way, the engine that's at the back. So this is the J57. Oh, I have my cap lock on, so now I got a lowercase j. Let's try that again. J57. Okay. And playing with fonts. I think NASA font will look, well, not look bad. Always the U.S. Air Force fonts look good for tail numbers and things. Let's go with that one. There is a bold to it too, yeah. And let's see, where are we gonna... Why did you have to be that way? Just gonna lower this down. Like that a little bit. Maybe make this a little bigger. I don't know why every time I grab the NASA one, I need to sort of reorient it. Oh my god. I'll never understand how the rotation keys work, ever. Okay, I've completely gabotched this now. I think it's upside down. I have no idea. Oh dear. Here, can I just, do I have to maybe just set the text? Oh, there we go. Okay. Why does this have to be so hard? I just wanted to center it underneath there. Maybe scale it down a little bit so it's like about the same width. Oh, maybe I should quit while I'm ahead. Okay, and we'll repeat the NASA logo over here. For whatever reason, again, it doesn't like to. There we go. Maybe closer to the front. Oh, maybe in here. Nah. There, but then just make it smaller. It's kind of working. Now they do also have a really nice collection of other little decals. Little, zoom in on this. And you can put conformal decals onto your stock games too. There's absolutely no reason with a lot of these mods why you can't just, you know, put these on your regular stock KSP games. Okay, we got, I don't know if I'm getting anything I want. We got food, hazardous. I think I'm not in a realm I want. No, I'm back to the beginning again. So throw that one away. What about these warning ones? Oh, this one's big. There we go. That's a good one. Because there's definitely, most certainly, an ejection seat underneath in here. Let's stick that over here. We'll scale it down a little bit. There's one on both sides, yeah. And let's see what other warning ones there are. So that was the ejection seat. Danger, danger. That's cool. High explosives. That's a good one. That's a good one to just kind of do that and point it towards the cockpit. Of course, being right side up. Is there a flip button for this? Or is there a rescue the other way? Because what if you want the arrow to go the other way, man? You know what I mean? Do I have to just go? Maybe I'll just go to the other side of the cockpit. But what I'm thinking is kind of rotating it like this. Oh, you can see there's the rescue right there. See? There's already one. Could put it right over the one that's there. And then we'll scale it. Snap off. Right over the arrow that was there. Lovely. I don't know if I need one on the other side then. No, then what I'll just do is remove symmetry and get rid of that one. Nice. Okay, what else? What else? I'm gonna just keep exploring these. Okay, so that was the rescue one. Then we have a nautical compass thing, explosive bolts, jet intake. Yeah, we definitely, that's a good one. Don't be around this end, folks. She will eat you up. There. You can also, like, play with the opacity of it too, like which is kind of nice because you can make them sort of look a little more worn. You can also increase or decrease the depth if you're having trouble with the textures. Pretty good with that, except that one, of course, is now pointing the wrong way. And of course, if you flip it around, seriously, how's that supposed to work? That, now the writing's upside down, so that's just not cool. Okay, we'll keep it around just so we can explore the rest of these. Oh, there's the one that goes the other way. It would make sense if there would be one going each way, doesn't it? There we go. Okay, let's keep playing. Danger, high explosives, air intakes, remove before flight. Okay. Jet fuel only. I'm no step. I might be coming towards the end of. Oh, we got electric. Oh, and then those are nice. Do we have letters to go with those? I don't think we do. No. And then we're back to the beginning. And then there's one more here. Again, little guys. A lot of these are just fun ones to kind of stick around. Annihilation hazard. I like that. Anyway, I think I'm coming to the end of... Yeah. We did a pretty good job. Alright, so there she is. Let's save this here. That saves it in here. Let's save the edits. Oh, I've not unlocked... Yeah, okay, yeah, unlock that one part. That's funny, for free. And also what I want to do is add this to the plans. Can I do this from here? Yes. So that now I can access it from here. There we go. So that's... Okay, let's get back to combined. Close that, close that, close that. Let's recover the plane. That's not going to take too long. The rocket plane. Oh, no, it's not. See, this isn't progressing while this guy's being recovered. What? Oh, we got staff training happening. Don't we? Somebody's available. Frederic Michel is available for duty. Okay, so what we'll do... Where am I at with the training? Sorry, I gotta check on my astronauts here. So George is active. If I'm gonna fly the X-planes, Frederic needs to be trained, but they also need to be trained for the general aviation, which is for the new plane cockpit. So what I think I'll do is train him. Training for the X1 mission. The other one's still on... Okay, let's put that back. And then we'll probably, while the J-57's being built, we'll do the general aviation training. Okay, so let's keep recovering. Okay, the Bell X1. Now I do want to... Made some notes as to things I wanted to change with it. Okay, so what I like to do, let's get back to the parachute, which I finally have... It's been so long that I had issues with these parachutes, but I do find... I think if I just reset it every time, and then I don't need all of these spare chutes, maybe just put in one spare chute, just to apply settings, and I think basically that's a new chute, I'm thinking. We've sorted that out. We want to fill the tanks, which I can do from outside, but I do want to also retract the landing gear. So that this thing will be ready for air launch when this is all done. And this will all take... Well, this is going to take 0 time. All of what I'm doing here. Okay. So... Oh, and the front one. Toggle gear. Okay. Alright, so we'll save those edits. And, where are we at here? If I go to integration... Oh, okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. Notice what happened here. It's going to take 21 minutes. No, 21 seconds, maybe. I can't remember. No, maybe it's 21 minutes. I think it's 21 seconds. But it fell behind the J57, so we definitely want to push that above the J57. It is 21 minutes. Okay, so we will go to completing that. And now this is ready for air launch. So prep for air launch. There. And then how does that match up with... We still got to wait on Frederic's mission training, unfortunately. That's okay. That'll get the engineers some time to work on the J57. This is ready, but Frederic's not ready. He's still got 4 days worth of mission training. So we'll do that. Mission training is complete. Okay, and now we're ready to air launch. And what I can do as well is warp this to sunrise, because I never want to fly these things at night. And then I got myself an idea. I have an idea. I'm just going to pause the game just for a moment. And this got suggested in a YouTube comment, so I'm going to open up my KOS scripts. And this is the boot file for the I can say all these things, for the X-Plane. And I'm always sort of printing instructions. If you look, I also got, let me look at the most recent one that I had. I had the Redstone downrange boot here. Let's take a look at that. See, and I got printing instructions. And these are just flight instructions to kind of remind me of what to do, because it's really easy for me to forget that. But this boot file gets stored on the actual craft, and you only have, at the beginning, 400 bytes of information storage ability, and that ain't a lot. And in fact, it limits this to this is pretty much pushing 400 bytes, just what you see here. So I was always like getting into really trying to make this as brief as I could. And then somebody suggested, well, why don't you have an external program to this that could run these instructions for you? And I went, you know, that's a really good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make actually a brand new program here. So we're going to write, this is going to be a new, you know what, maybe but the better plan. Let's go into here. No, let's go into this downrange program. This is my downrange program. We're going to save this as, this way I know it gets saved in the right folder with the right extensions and all this stuff. And this is going to be flight instructions. It's going to be a brand new program. Oh, you can't see me type flight instructions, but now it says flight instructions. So we'll change the title here to flight instructions. We'll change the description. I don't know if I need the description. Missions. Okay, and this is going to take a parameter, and I'm going to call the parameter mission number. And it's not going to be a Boolean. It's going to instead be an integer. And I'm not going to give it a default. The is gives it a default value. We're not going to assign it a default value. But what it does say is when you are going to call this program, it's going to require you to provide information about a mission number. Okay, and then all I'm going to do, let's go to my X-planes here, is take these print statements. I'm going to take them out, go over to flight instructions, and we're going to stick them in here. But we're going to do a little bit, make it a smidge fancier than all of this. So I'm going to put in an if. If mission num is equal to, is it? No, I think it is. I think it is just that for a. Oh, I've always forgotten. With some programming languages, it's a double equal. It doesn't do the. Let me just do a quick little search here on the. Yeah, sometimes, because equals is often an assignment operator. I hope I'm making some sort of sense. And then it might not work as, does it check whether mission num is a 1? That's really what I needed to do. Oh, I feel like I'm doing this. Okay, and then this comes down here. Okay. Yeah, I very rarely use. No. It does use just a single equals. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so I was looking at the documentation for that. Sorry about that. But now, what I can do is I'm not limited by size now that this is kind of like stored in mission control. I can print whatever I want. So for instance here, I can print, I got to figure out what I'm doing. This is the, what is that? 400. Oh, deployment altitude. Or deployment distance. So I can write actually like the word set deployment. You know, I don't have to do that. I can still be brief. But at least I can write something. Is equal to 400 kilometers. Okay, and what about the next one here? That is altitude, target altitude. Now the target altitude for this mission, I can actually look this up. Target altitude, I got to get to 55 kilometers. Ooh, that's a good point. I might not be able to get to that. I got to test it. Target altitude. Altitude. 55. So I'm going to go to 55, 100 meters. And the next one, max. I'm gonna put one in. I never used to put this in, but climb rate. We'll start it at 10 degrees. And then I'll put in a Vmax, which actually for this mission is going to be none. There we go. And we can save now this flight instructions. And the reason why I put an if in here is because I'll probably, when I have other missions, have, you know, if it's a 2, do this. If it's a 3, do this. So, but now I can go to my X-Planes boot, and I can simply say, here, run. And I should be able to run, because here it's changing it to the right directory, so I should be able to just simply run flight instructions. 1, like that. It's saying it doesn't know what flight instructions is. I think is what that's telling me, isn't it? Flight instructions. It's right there. It should work. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's saying there's an error, but it might just be sometimes change, new start. This is stored in new start. It is flight instructions. All right, we're going to give this a go. So let's get rid of this. There we go. It's been a little while since I've done any coding live. Not quite live, but close to it. Let's get rid of that. What I got to do, I just realized this, is I really do have to test the Bell X3. So I'm going to go in here, because I don't even know if I can get to that altitude. So we're going to get out the Bell X3, and we're going to, I don't know why that's yellow, not yellow at the back, but I'm not going to worry about it. And we're going to simulate this. This should be a totally fueled up, ready to go beastie. Yes. Okay, simulate. Oh, and it did run into a mistake. So it couldn't find run flight instructions 1. Okay, so there is a problem here that I got to figure out why it didn't find that. I thought I had such a great idea. I did type it right. That's always the first thing to check. Switch directories. Oh, might have to abandon this idea. I'll have to figure out, because I'm not going to do problem solving at this point. We'll cut that part all out. Called from boot sequence line 1 run boot. Oh, it thinks it's in the boot. So I have to provide the actual... Okay, I'll puzzle that out later. See, it's trying to run it from the boot. It didn't actually change the directory. I thought... Okay. Let's not worry about it. I'm going to close this. So, what we're going to do is we are going to try and get to the altitude of 55,100. I'm going to do that at a climb rate of 10 degrees. And I'll work out the puzzling part later. Heading of 270 is correct because we're going to air launch this. So, we got to go to here. And that's all good. So let's launch this. Get that engine going. And engage. There we go. Why? Why was there that delay? That was unnerving. Okay. And we should be able to just put it on here. Nicey nice. And all I'm interested in is, can this motor get this up to 55 kilometers? That is the whole mission. Boom. Boom. And if it can't do that, we'll do some Mach 2 flight science with it. Okay, so it's building up speed nicely. Should put this on the waypoint. And we'll give her a little time warp, and we'll just see how she does. I think the 10-degree climb rate is a pretty good one. So you want it to keep building up speed all the way through this. Maybe even actually a little higher now that I'm looking at this. So 15 degrees. Let's try that. Still building up speed at 15. So 15 might have been a better choice. There we go. Because look at the speed frickin' build. Holy cow. Question is, will we get to altitude before? The other question is, can I descend safely from this altitude? Because if you might be recalling that from previous missions, this cockpit was starting to get a little hot. It was getting a little hot. We do have also, whoops, let's switch this to crude missions here. We have a 50-kilometer altitude, crude altitude record. We have a crude speed record of 1,500 meters per second, which this thing not that far from. Okay, I do have to reduce this now, 5 degrees, because it's having trouble. I'm just noticing that. Oh, it might be it's having trouble just generating enough lift to keep going up. See how much the angle of attack is? Maybe if we increase the angle of attack. Let's get into the settings here. Maximum angle of attack. Can I change that to like 30 degrees? We're running out of fuel. Okay, we're going to try this again. We did beat that speed record without an issue, but I would like to beat this altitude record. Okay, so we're going to restart this. Restart simulation. Yeah, I know. We're not going to worry about you. So, there. Whoops, I hit the wrong. Ah, crap. There. Oh, I'm hitting Alt. That's why. Shift. P. And let's get into here and also into the craft settings. So I want that to stay at 30, so it'll have a higher angle of attack. I want the climb rate now to be 15 at the start. Okay. Heading is good. Altitude is good. Okay, let's again air launch this guy. Max throttle, and we're off. Pitching up. 15 degrees, and engage the cruise flight controller. Set our waypoint. Boom. Okay. Okay, and again, we're time warping. And what I really want to watch is the angle of attack. If the angle of attack starts growing a lot, what I need to do is reduce this climb rate. And say, don't worry so much about it. So for instance here you can see it increasing, so let's go to 10. Maybe should take the time warp off next time I do that. Okay, let's put it to 5. Time warp off. Oh, it actually reduced. Okay, whatever. Alright, I don't want to get lower than 5. But now with this moderate angle of attack, before what it was doing, because this was set to 15, is once the angle of attack was 15 degrees, in other words, the angle between the little bird icon and the prograde icon got to 15 degrees, it stopped pitching up, and then it wasn't gaining altitude anymore. Now it'll pitch up to the point where, you know, it'll try and still keep that rate of climb at 5 degrees, and it'll increase the angle of attack up to 30 degrees in order to accomplish that. Whether that'll be enough or not, I don't know. And whether we'll run out of fuel before that, I don't know. But I got me a feeling I might need a better motor to really push this harder. Now, I do have better motors. I have a motor that's a one-off motor version of these that is much more powerful. And I'd be thinking it might be time to bust that motor out. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Same. I'm running into the same problem. We're just not going to get to altitude. So I think I might be pushing the limits of what this plane can do in terms of altitude. So I think what I might do is recover it, swap out that motor, and see if we can not do something a little more exciting. Get into the 1500 meters per second without an issue. It's the altitude that's the problem. Yeah, and you can see even how hard it has to pitch up just to kind of keep what it's doing already. Yeah. I mean, if it had a little more fuel, it probably could do it. But just barely. But I'm thinking... Let me just take a quick look at the science part of this for just... It's not far, really. Just take a look. What are some of the other science experiments? Are there science experiments this thing can do? That's what I'm interested in. So there is the hypersonic flight. And for hypersonic flight, you need to have a minimum speed of 1500 meters per second. There's 24 minutes of science to collect from that. And you have to be flying low, which means you have to be below 40 kilometers. Might just change up the mission for this. Rather than changing the plane, let's change the mission. So I'm going to restart this. Restart simulation. I know. Just gotta fix that. So we're going to change the game plan here a bit. I realize now I should have done that earlier, but I just kind of forgot. So let's get into here. So we're going to go to an altitude of 38 kilometers. I think the higher the better. We're going to, let's just look at the science again. For hypersonic flight, you need to have a minimum surface speed of 1.5 kilometers per second. So let's change this to 1510 for the speed control. And again, that heading is fine. So we're going to be just under 40 kilometers. This doesn't have the science installed, but I mean, I'll be able to see whether it's just capable of doing it. That's the main thing. And then we might just change the whole idea of what this plane's going to be about. Because I'd rather squeeze out what I can out of this plane. 15 and engage that. And waypoint. And set the waypoint. Okay. So now, different mission plan. We're going to get up to 38 kilometers. Actually, maybe make it, because it struggled just to get to that, didn't it? Let's make it 32. As long as she doesn't get too hot. Because it was just, what? It was starting to struggle as it was getting to the high 30s. So maybe just make it 32. I want to be high because we're going to be going fast, and the rocket engines are more efficient with the thinner air. Also, there's less friction, so they'll have to work less. But I don't. If I have to expend all my fuel just to get up to the altitude I'm talking about, then that ain't no good. Maybe I should try just 25. Let's try 25. See how hard the motor has to work at 25. I'm looking at this this air pressure gauge. Once I'm into this section, we're dealing with pretty thin air. Let's put this to 10. It really... And 25 might be too low, in which case I'll have to go higher, but let's see what we do here. So 24 kilometers. Make sure I am doing what this contract requires, or not the contract, but the science. Yeah, has to be flying low. Okay, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. And then I got to get up to 1.5 kilometers per second. So at this point here, we're going to put on the speed control. And it's gonna, you know, let's see how long it takes. Now, I'm a little worried that I'm not high enough. And that combination of rocket engine efficiency, because they get more efficient as the air gets thinner, but also friction on the plane, I might want to be at a higher altitude than this. Fortunately, I don't know a way of doing this without having to puzzle it out. We're about halfway through our fuel reserves. I think it needs to be higher. I think it needs to be higher. Maybe 35 would have been a better choice. Because look at this, it's not increasing in speed that quickly. No, let's restart. Sorry. So, restart simulation. Sorry, it's making me laugh now. Let's go to here. Okay, let's get to 35. Let's make that one our goal. 10, 15. Okay, heading is good. Okay, and let's launch. Okay, engaging engine. Okay, engaging cruise controller, locking to the waypoint at the KSC. Okay, do some little time warping here. See if she runs just a little bit better. You know what I should do? Actually, watch this. Oh, no, no, no. Never mind. Okay, I'm going to take the time warp off. I'm going to change this to 10 degrees. Maybe it should be 10 from the beginning, because that seems like an inefficient thing to do. Okay, so now we're passing 25 kilometers, which is where we were at before. Let's just keep it going at 10 degrees. I think, you know, trying to get up as quick as you can is the way to do this. Okay, 30. Okay, we're getting close. 33, 35 is going to start to level off. Nice. And all right, we're going to put on the speed control. And it's really going to want to give it the beans here. Okay, there we go. Look at the speed now. We're already well over what we were before. However, we have used up about 3/4 of our fuel. So the question is, I think I can now get to 1,500 meters per second. But the question is, how long will it fly at that? So we're just going to watch our mission clock here. Again, you can see, just to keep a level flight, how high it has to be pitched up. Unfortunately, I probably shouldn't go much higher than this. Now, maybe I can make it just a long... I bet you the engine can burn for longer than it does. Oxygen reserves are getting low. That's the liquid oxygen, of course. Yeah, this is going to get there for any decent amount of time. It needs more fuel. Okay, we are just past, not yet. There's 15. And we're at 602. And now it's turning the throttle down. You know, if I can put a little more fuel on this thing. I like how low the throttle is now. So 602. I think again it was 24 minutes to get all the science. Will I get any kind of decent fraction of that? And that is, and we are below. So it's less than a minute. Maybe, if I'm being generous, about 50 seconds. That ain't worth it. I mean, you got to do, it'll be like 30 flights to collect all of it. So, let's revert back to the editor. I'm going to change this up, I think, a little bit. What I think I'm going to do... I think I'm going to make a new X3 with drop tanks on it. And the whole purpose of this new X3... Or I can try swapping out the engine and go for that really high altitude stuff. Oh, decisions. I mean, I could put drop tanks on here, and then it can use the fuel in the drop tanks to get to altitude, and then when it gets to altitude, it's got almost a full tank of fuel. It's something to think about. But of course, I'm already working. This is what's getting me to pause, is I'm already working on the J56. Maybe I should just put this fella on hold. The hangar can only work on one plane at a time. And maybe this needs to go on hold. I'll write a little note to myself is to add drop tanks. Do this. I don't know. I'm going to just write some notes to myself to either add drop tanks to for supersonic or what is that? Hypersonic science. Or what was the other option? The other option is new engine altitudes. Okay. I'm going to do one more thing, and if this turns into something really long, I'll just cut it out, but I'm going to simulate this again. And we're going to bring up our browser. Or our browser. Why do I call it a browser? We're going to bring up this. So this is what it doesn't like. Doesn't like, let me just close this for a second. You heard the error in the background. This, right? So it's trying to run it from the boot file, and that's not cool. Called from one boot this, and so let's open this up again. I thought this change directory to 0 new start would take care of it. So I need to run. I think I just need to put in front of this 0. Oh, I'm in overwrite mode. How did I end up in overwrite mode? 0 colon new start slash flight instructions. Is that going to make you happy? Oh, do I need to write? Now it doesn't like this at all. Do I have to put that in quotation marks? All right, so I'm going to just show you right here. This is now working. It ran the flight instructions the way it's supposed to right up here. And it was, as predicted, stupid stuff. So just to show you the stupid stuff I did, number one is when I saved this flight instructions file, I had actually called it flight instructions. I had an extra T in there, not in the description in the actual file name, so it couldn't find it. And secondly, for the parameter, even though it's still showing an error here, it works. It does that sometimes. It has trouble finding things. You got to put the argument, even though it's an integer. I guess it takes it as a string. I don't know, but I had to put it in quotation marks. So that works just fine now. Let's close that. Let's get back to here. I just reran the simulation for the sole purpose of testing this boot file. So that's working. Yay. But now what I can do is I can end this simulation. Revert to editor. And exit out of here. And we're going to put our energy into this boot, but what I want are into this fighter jet. But what I want to do, so I'm going to unmount this. Yeah, that was, well, I might as well run it. Now that it's mounted, I might as well run it. But, and just to collect science. So we're not going to do the contract. But what I want to do before I do all that stuff is do the same thing with, to do the boot file for this guy. And this won't take long because I've worked out what my errors are. So we're going to go back to here. This is my X-Planes boot. What I want to do now is save a new one. Save as. And this is going to be called Jet Boot. Oh, I don't have the window open. Just give me a moment. There's what I was looking for. So now I got this Jet Boot. This is going to be Flight Instructions 2. Which obviously doesn't exist just yet, but now if I go to flight instructions and I go to here and I type else if, and I can write the flight instructions for this guy whenever I get around to doing it, which by the way, by now I have kind of forgotten what I was doing. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so Oh, I actually kept... I don't know. Why do I have those old ones? Anyway. The mission, the contract, was this... I'm not doing that one. Mach 2 Supersonic. So it's to get to a speed of... Yes. Yes. So I wrote this down. 15 kilometers. I did write it down. So writing things down is always good. So this... Let's take these guys and copy them. Else if... I just realized... Mission num equals 2. I want deployment altitude still 400 kilometers. Oh, no. Launch from runway. Dummy. Target altitude is now 15 kilometers. Rate of climb is 10 degrees. And velocity max is 640. 640 meters per second. And I'm going to write further instructions. Is, and I wrote it down, turn around when altitude is reached. Put a period at the end. Okay, save. So what we're going to do now that we have this jet boot, I think, let's get rid of the contracts here. You're just in the way. I should be able to go to KOS. Reread the boot folder. Open this up. I should now have a jet boot file. Jet boot, there you are. And let's simulate this. We're going to save this simulate. Sorry, I just realized I did not get rid of that. That's my bad. And over here you can see launch from runway. All that stuff kind of popped up there. That is great. Might just put in an extra print here just to sort of fix this up. I just noticed that it got cut off at one point. So right before the word around, I'm going to put that and that, and then print that, that, and that. Yes. And also, I think printing just a blank line at the top here, probably in both circumstances. Oh my God, I cannot type. And same thing here. Why is the tab not lining up with the other tab suddenly? You know what? Let's not worry about it. Probably because these guys... There we go. From the copying and pasting, some extra white space got in there. There we go. Okay, let's get rid of that. Reboot this guy just one more time. And there are my flight instructions. And I'm not limited by space. I'm happy I got it to work. And obviously as well, like if I have a third mission going, all I have to do is recopy this and write instructions for the third mission, like if I had a plane going or something like that. So I think this is going to work great. And then it doesn't limit me to how much space I have. And by the way, for those people that are new to programming, I could have gotten away with just having an if here. That works fine. But an else if is slightly more efficient in terms of programming. So it's a good habit to get into, because if mission num is a 1, and if the word else was not here, it would print this and then check if it was a 2, but obviously it's a 1. It shouldn't have to check if it's a 2. So you put in the word else. So it says if this one turns out to be true, it skips the else's. You can put as many else ifs as you want. It'll skip them and not check again. So it saves you a little bit of processing time. Hardly a big deal considering what's running in the background, but you know, good habits. Okay, let's get out of here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're going to save these edits. Okay, and we're going to go to here. Oh, this is already 16% built. I just noticed. Okay, and we're going to add that to plans, because now it's in the plans with the boot file. Actually, same with this one. Add it to plans. Okay, and we're gonna air launch. No, we don't. We don't have our mission. We don't have our person trained yet, do we? Do we have a trained pilot? We must have a trained pilot. I've totally forgotten where I'm at. Yes, we have a trained pilot. So let's just air launch this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's go. Launch. Frederic, yes. Yes. Alright, so there we are. We need to shift MP, MP, so we're ready on that end. Put that over here. A little bit of, get that throttle up. Engage the engine. Pitch up to about 10 degrees. Yep. There we go. And now we can set the cruise controller. So we got here our flight instructions, 55. No, those are not right anymore. This is just about shoot. Never fixed it. This is going to be about science by Jabba's dopey doorhead. This is going to be the Mach 2 flight science. We're not going for altitudes or anything. We need a max flight of 640. 640. And we will set this to the waypoint. Waypoint. Boom. And oh, did they not select a waypoint? Okay, I don't know what's going on there. I'm not gonna worry about it. Let's just put it on heading. 35. Oh, I know. Never mind. I know why. Climb rate. Altitude. We can stop at around 25-ish. There. Okay. There. I do have a waypoint, so I should be able to lock on. There it goes, locked onto the waypoint. Oh my golly golly. So this is, it finally worked, except the information here is all wrong. We are simply going to be collecting the Mach 2 flight science for whatever it is worth. That is the whole shkabongi. And for the flight science, I want to get up to a speed of 640, and then we're just gonna cruise. I've noticed my parachute is armed. I never did fix the staging, but that's okay. Maybe I should have left it in the same stage. More clear. Parachute's armed, but it won't deploy until the conditions are met, so it's not a big deal. Though I probably shouldn't say that because I've been jinxed with this stuff. Alright, and this is going to be the last flight of the X3 for a while, at least in this form. I'm going to need to decide, do I want to put drop tanks on here and go for altitude, or do I want to, God, what was my other option I wrote down? Or do I want to swap out the engine and still go for altitude? Oh no, drop tanks and go for hypersonic science. That's what it is. So I'll use the drop tanks to use the fuel to get up to altitude, try and get to altitude with as much of this still full as I can, and then cruise at 1,500 meters per second. Or swap out the engine and go for altitude. I don't know. But first, I'm going to build that jet. That's going to be the first mission. Okay, here we go. Getting up to 600 meters per second. Oh my gosh, I swear I just confused myself more and more and more. 630. Okay, should start reducing throttle. Oh, I don't have the speed control on, you big dink. Okay, it should reignite anyway. Oh my gosh. Did not engage the speed control, not a big deal. So now, it is collecting this Mach 2 flight science, and it'll run until it runs out of fuel. And I like where the throttle's at. I like that this engine's not on the verge of cutting out, which can happen if you get the throttle down too more. And then there was a plane that I got into some trouble with it doing multiple reignitions, and then the motor broke. But I like right now what it's doing. Okay, let's give her some time warping. We can actually put that on terrain because we'll need that momentarily. Okay, there we go. We'll just run this till it's out of fuel. So this is for science. For science. How much science we're going to get, I don't know. We're going to get what we can. And I don't know. I'm still thinking about. I'm leaning towards, because I'm doing pretty good for science right now. I got a good queue of stuff still to be researched, and there's a bit of science in the bank. So I'm really thinking about the altitude, and the altitude's going to require putting in that engine, which I have had unlocked for a while. Again, it's a much more powerful motor than this one, but it's a one-off. So after you bring the plane back, you got to throw the engine away, put in a new one. But I should be able to get some pretty good altitudes, I think, out of it. That's what I'm leaning towards. But again, I've spent enough time fiddling with this. I think the better plan is going to be to get that jet going. And hopefully pretty soon we'll have both of these two things going, and all you're doing is rolling them in and out, right? Okay, so how are we doing science-wise? Still got 8 minutes to go on it, but, oh, just stop the time warping because we're getting low on fuel. But it's doing all right. What we've collected so far. We've collected 3.6 science. I mean, can't complain. And we are coming over KSC, so what we're going to be doing is flying by, turning around, coming back. I'm actually more comfortable with that, because then if I get an early engine failure, I actually have a chance of making it to the runway. While if you start really far away and then the engine fails on you, you're going to be water ditching. People have also been suggesting using the Space Shuttle runway, which is incorporated into it. I think this is it right here. You can see it runs a different direction. It's a little more north-south than this one, which is east-west, but oh, we're almost out here. But I'm not having that much trouble. It's just wider and longer, so it makes it an easier thing to land with. I'm not having that much trouble with it, so I think I'm kind of sticking with what I got. It's okay. Alright, we should be running out of fuel at any moment. Still got 6 minutes and left here. We're going to bring this altitude down to, say, 3 kilometers. Keep the rate of descent at 10. That's cool. Maybe a little bit of flaps. A little bit of flaps. So let's put this to 15. Let's get down to altitude. Okay. Speed control can come off now. Alright. And as I learned last episode, I don't have to be paranoid about passing the waypoint. As soon as you pass the waypoint, it will automatically shift off the waypoint and it'll just fly straight, which is great. Okay, how much science did we get? How much science? Because we're now below the speed. We got 5 science. See, that was a worthwhile mission, I think. 5 science. There is still about 4 science left to go. So one more flight of this would do it. But also the J57 jet can also do the Mach 2 science. And it'll be a natural part of the contract it's doing. So it might be better off just letting it finish this off and retiring this one. All right. So now what we're doing is we're watching this angle to the runway. See how it came off the waypoint? So don't have to worry about it. So I was thinking it might just spiral down. I was being overtly paranoid. So I want to keep this angle, watch this angle drop. Okay, I don't want to lose too much speed. So taking the flaps off, we're just kind of coasting downwards nicely. And once this angle's down around 20 degrees or so, we're going to turn around and we're just going to head straight to the runway. I'm going to put this at 1,000 meters. Doesn't change anything, but I don't want... Last time I was doing this, all of a sudden it was leveling off early, and I was like, oh, why don't do that? Why are you doing that? And it's like, oh, because you told me to. You dope? Craft settings. You can save these. Somebody pointed out to me, and it says, so I'm going to try and say, this is an X-Planes. And I'm going to save that as a profile. There we go. Oh, and now we got, okay, so you can now switch. Oh, nice. Okay. I for whatever reason, I never noticed that feature. All right, how we doing? What's our angle to the runway? About 22 degrees. A little further. We're still 10 kilometers up. All right, so what we're going to do is click the waypoint again, and this thing should do a nice turn for us. And then we'll head there. I can see the attraction of doing it. I have to turn and line up with this. This is the nice thing about this runway is it does run dead east-west, so it's really easy to kind of line up with. We're going to drop at an angle of 20 degrees now. And now we are going to deploy some of these flaps and try and lose some speed. Okay, I'm going to set this altitude now to 300. I could have set it to 300 right from the beginning, but that's okay. And I'm going to do the cowardly quick save. I'm all about doing cowardly things. I think Frederick's a little disappointed. I think he really wanted to go for that 55-kilometer altitude record. But it might still be him. Who knows? Who knows? It'll come. It'll come. Okay, angle of the runway is 14 degrees. Let's level. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to stick it at what I've got. I think it's good. It'll level off. We'll get a chance to lose a lot of speed while it's flying level. See if I might move this waypoint too. Somehow it's at the very end of this runway. I don't know why. Okay, we are going a little fast. A little fast. But I'm hoping it's going to be okay. If not, we can always turn around. This thing has a tendency to come in kind of fast, doesn't it? Okay, we're going to deploy landing gear. We're going to go to standard fly-by-wire. I'm in control. And I try lining up with the runway, but I don't think. I got maximum flap deployment. This thing really does need the spoilers that I have. If you do a little bit of, like, whoa. Oh, wait, am I? No, I'm not time warping. That's just me. A little hot doggy. Remember, I did quick save. Oh, there goes my parachute, so we're going down whether I like it or not. It's fine. Oh, dear. Not fine. Not fine. Not fine. Okay. A little aggressive there, my friend. A little aggressive. All right, we're okay. I'm going to open up Waypoint Manager here. I'm going to edit this one. See if I can make it use current here, use terrain height, apply and save. So I've just moved it to be right where we are. All right, we're good. You know, I always do this thing, but I might as well do that, right? And then fix the staging here. And then recover it. Now I don't have to do all that kind of stuff in the spaceplane hangar. Yeah. Okay, recover. All right, here we go. See, we're up to 22 science now. Like, that was 5 science from that. Frederic is off until April 27th. Got a little holiday. Let's actually open that up. Look at our astronauts. And so they're both inactive. But, oh, George is back tomorrow. But what I think I'll do is wait until they're both active and then do the training. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So let's see. We're recovering. Let's take a look. I got 22 science. Let's see what we can queue up for us here. So I got all of this going. Yeah, I can't. That's right. This is the one I really want, but I can't do it until I get satellite era. So that's really where things are kind of stalling. We do have up here on the plane front for 10, we have high speed flight. New engines. I got a feeling though, once I'm done with X-Plane research, I think I am probably bailing on all of this stuff. All kinds of motor upgrades. This is probably a good idea. Not sure if I need that to finish off the X-Plane stuff or not. And then we have things like primitive solar panels. We have lunar range communication. We're not ready for that yet. Oh my gosh. Bigger SRBs. I get people asking, why aren't you putting on decent SRBs? It's because all my SRBs are teeny weeny. You don't get bigger SRBs to here. But honestly, that's looking like a good thing to get in the research queue, doesn't it? And orbital rocketry here for 1958 orbital rocketry. I'm looking at more 1956-57 orbital rocketry. This guy's 6. This guy's 10. I have 22. Let's do both these. So let's add in the solid rocket motors. And let's get in the high speed. What is this one? Hypersonic flight. Oh, I do need this. Oh, shoot. This is the upgrade to the cockpit that lets you get up really high, isn't it? One person spaceplane cockpit. I think I'm going to need this. I do think I need that. Yes. Because it's you got to break the Kármán line. So I'm going to chuck this into the mix. Might even do a little bit of rearranging here. See, I got so much stuff being researched. Got a lot of money too. Let's hire some people. So I definitely want that. Definitely want that. We got solid rocket motors. I want to take this hypersonic flight one and I want to push it up. Let's look at the research. Hypersonic flight. Satellite era science. Gonna keep going up. There we go. I'll put it up there because that is going to be necessary if I want to break the Kármán line, which I need to do. Okay, back on combined. Okay, we're recovering the X3. Oh wait, we want to get into staff. That's right. Hire, more researchers. Let's start getting out this backlog that we got. I'm pretty good with engineers now that there's nobody working in the launch complex. So, because I'm all 160 engineers are in the hangar, but I can always hire researchers. I'm looking at my budget. There we go. Like, my balance is huge. Let's do this. I got 10,000 to do some hiring. We can hire 2 batches of 10 researchers, I think. So they cost 3,000 each. So 1 and 2. See, it's not the balanced budget here that's really costing. It's you know, just the amount of built up funds I've got. That's really what's limiting my hiring abilities. All right, so we're at 370 researchers now going away. So good, good, good. Let's close that. Let's close that. Yep, let's recover the Bell X3. And, oh, that is George is now ready for duty. Okay, and let's open up. When is... Oh, shoot, these old alarms aren't deleting. We got Frederic coming up in 9 days. The 26 days to build our jet. So we got to do a lot of training. So we're going to get... Let's get to Frederic. Those engineers can build a plane now, I tell you. Okay, that's that. We can get rid of that. Now we can get into here, look at training. And I want to do proficiency with the X15. Oh, that's because I started researching that. So that requires a separate... Okay, but what I want to do is the proficiency in general aviation. That's for the jet pilot. We're going to throw both of them in there. That is finishing on April 27th. The jet fighter is not done until May, so that's cool. All right, good, good, good. Let's start that training. Why is that complete already? Was I time warping? What weirdness happened there? Proficiency? I think... Okay, I think they just received their training. Am I really confused? I'm not quite sure what I just did it. Okay, what we want to do is do the general aviation mission training. Still do that. Okay, that's now in here. But the proficiency training is now done. That is so... I don't know what happened there. That's okay. All right, let's finish off that train. They're just so freaking good that they don't need any other training. Okay. Still going to be a ways for the jet, so they're both trained, so let's get the jet going. Okay, and now I don't have to do the prep for launch thing like you have to do with the Bell X3. I can just simply launch it because we're going from the runway. We just got a lovely sunrise. Let's do this thing. So launch. George. Yes, it was Frederic last. George gets a pilot. Let's go. All right. Oh, it is a lovely sunrise. And I got our lovely flight instructions here. So we're going to be launching from the runway. I don't think I have any aviation lights. No, I don't. We need to open up our flight assist stuff. Get into here. We want to have a target altitude of 15 kilometers. Looks like I wrote 15 kilometers. We want a rate of climb of 10 degrees. We want a climb rate. Yep, we want a maximum speed of 640 meters per second. Further instructions are to turn just as you get to altitude and start heading back so you don't end up being too far away from the runway. This one, I do have a contract. We can close this now. I'll remember. Of course I will. We do have a contract here to do the Mach 2 Supersonic flight contract. That is what we're interested in. So it's to get just basically to a speed of 625 to 650 meters per second. I found testing in the last episode that just being just over 640, there's some funny fluttering that goes on with the afterburners that I just want to avoid. So that's why I put it up to 640. So it's just a little below the 650. We're going to cruise at that for 5 minutes. And while we're doing that, we're also going to be doing this Mach 2 flight science, which remember has about maybe 6 minutes. So this might be able to just finish off this Mach 2 flight science. So let's hope we can do that as well. So kind of a combination of both of those two things. Otherwise, I'm going to do a quick save because I am a coward with jets. We're got on our standard fly-by-wire. Our heading is 90 degrees. That's right. Let's take a look at our craft settings. I want to moderate the G's at 5, and I'm going to save this as the jet default. So save. So that's now my jet default. I have my X-Planes default. Cool. I don't want them to pull crazy G's. That's just craziness. Okay. Throttle up, because this is all on me. And we can tuck this here. Punch it. Okay. Flying into the sun. And you gotta be a little careful taking off that you don't knock that butt end onto the runway. So we're gonna let it get to speed. There come the afterburners. Gonna try and lift that nose up a bit and then let it get off the ground. Come on. There we go. There we go. Gear. Excellent. And set the cruise controller. Why is it doing that? Heading. Vertical motion. There we go. Oh my god. Didn't have that stuff set. Just said, alright, let's go! Level full thrust. Alright. Awesome soars. Okay, and yeah, flying into the sun we go. Looks very purple on this light. Very purple. So we got to get ourselves to altitude, 15 kilometers, and then we're going to just cruise. That's going to be the whole thing. Look how purple that looks. Kind of like it, but it is purple. Okay, and George, so our first jet flight. And this has an even quicker turnaround than the rocket planes do, because you don't have to do the recovery, you don't have to mount it to the carrier, all that kind of stuff. You land it back on the runway, fuel it up, and should be very quick to get this thing ready to go again for the next round. Okay, what are we at? 4. Let's give it a little time warping. 4 kilometer altitude. The speed is leveling off a little bit, which is great. I don't want it to get to speed while we're climbing. I do like it. I think the profile's nice. Like, I think it looks good. Of course, you know, I'm probably biased on that. Alright, and 7.5 kilometers in altitude. And 10 kilometers, and I do want to remember, oh, wait, let's take this off, set the waypoint. And we are going to be turning around just as we get to altitude, because we don't want to allow ourselves to get too far away from the KSC, and also I don't want to turn around going at 640 meters per second. It'll be a supersonic turn, but it won't be an outrageous supersonic turn. There won't be a hypersonic turn, Mach 2 supersonic turn. All right, we are at 12.5 kilometers. 13 kilometers. I'm gonna get ready to do the turn soon. And 14 wispy clouds around. it's starting to level off, so I'm going to do the click on the waypoint here, get it to do a nice turn. That's the whole reason why I moderate those G's to only 5 G's, so that this turn isn't outrageous. So it's going to be a really banking kind of turn. This is fine. Ooh, a little bit of funkiness there. I don't know what that's about. And then once we're turned around, I'm going to turn on, put on the speed control, and get her up to speed. So we're about 90 kilometers away from the KSC. We'll make up, at this speed, we're going to make up that distance very short order. Alright, and now I'm going to engage the speed control. And let's get to speed. A little time warping again. And science doesn't click in till it's at 625. Which is actually going to take a little bit to get to now. Look, it's hardly climbing at super speeds. I think I had that as my, let's open up that KOS. 15 kilometers was right? That's not the right button, silly Billy. I can never remember from day to day what I do. But I wrote 15 kilometers from my target altitude, and that's what I got written. Okay. Alright, I'm going to trust you. Hopefully you won't let me down. Okay, we are passing over the KSC. We're just going to kind of keep going this way. Haven't used up half our fuel yet. Could always easily put more fuel on this. I got fuel in the wings, and I got fuel tanks on the side here, but this center thing is just a big old, just a empty fuselage. So I could easily tuck some fuel in there. Pretty happy with the... Okay, there we go. Our Mach 2 science has just clicked on. We got about 6 minutes of that. But we'd also will be reducing throttle at 640, and that's going to really conserve our fuel. Boy, it's not reducing throttle that much, is it? Okay, just kind of every once in a while feathering those afterburners, and that's it. All right, so we'll see. It did it in simulation. That's all I'm going to say. So it's got to continue for the contract with this for another 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And then we got to get it back. The second part of the contract. And once we're getting back, we slow down a lot and we'll use a lot less fuel. Okay. And I'm debating. You know what? No. Okay, we're getting a little redness on the cockpit, so I think I should really be careful with how far I am going to push this. As well as the engine. Look at the engine heat bar, too. So I think slowing down as quick as we can is not good. I was debating whether I still got 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the Mach 2 flight science, about a minute and a half left on this. So if I went for about another minute... that's what I'm thinking about is... Oh, we're coming over the Gulf of Mexico now. What I'm thinking about is flying another minute at this speed before turning around. But you know what? It'd be easy enough just to go up again and clean this off, so I don't think I'm going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is once this is ready, that was a funny little flutter there with the motor. 20 seconds. Let's take the time warp off. We'll come up a second time to finish off the Mach 2 science. It'll be easy enough to get. There's no reason putting people at risk. 9 seconds. And there, so we're going to turn this speed control to 280 meters per second, which is just going to get it to turn right off. Those are on. We're also going to begin to lower our altitude to 10 kilometers. There we go. And once we're down to a sane speed, we can also deploy some flaps as well. Got both flaps and spoilers on this one. Once we're down around supersonic speeds, around the sound barrier, we'll start turning this around. Because it did a supersonic turn before without too much issues. So here, let's turn on the waypoint. There we go. And to be honest, no reason for the flaps now. Retracting the flaps, it's already retracted the spoilers. And we are 256 kilometers away from the KSC. So once this thing is kind of leveled off, we'll just kind of cruise back. And let's see what it settles down around at 280. See what this throttle settles down at. I thought 10 kilometers might be just a good little cruising altitude. And the only reason I'm thinking that is, you know, it's not that different from where airlines cruise. All right, let's lower this to 240. Want to reduce throttle as much as I can, and just conserving fuel. I mean, take a look here at the bar, right? We don't have a lot of fuel left. And I think I investigated this last time. If I take a look at the Delta V stats from McJeb, it's saying like 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. But I'm pretty sure it's thinking max throttle. Like for fuel left, it's not taking into account where the throttle is. There's no way it is. Because notice how the throttle is fluttering, but this time is not. So I don't think that can be trusted. We have an ETA of 14.5 minutes. Okay, just going to increase that time warp, get ourselves back. Looking at about a third throttle, which I think should be hopefully okay. Key thing, no afterburners. Alright. Do this. All that's left for the contract is to land. You can land anywhere, but if you want this extra 12 reputation, put her on the runway. Okay. George is going to get this done. Gorgeous day. Beautiful day in central California. Why did I was going to say California? Florida. I mean, at least they're both warm, I suppose. Where are we? We have a 4-degree angle to the runway. Probably when that gets to 10 degrees, we'll start making our way down. Maybe set this for like 7. Okay, and our ETA is 8 minutes now. At 4 times time warp, that's 2 minutes. As I continue to try to think of things to talk about. And where's our angle to the runway is now at almost 6 degrees. Okay. You know what? Let's take off the time warp. Let's put this at 5. And let's reduce our altitude to 300 meters. Reduce our speed to 160. As I just pulled that one straight out of my posterior. We're beginning our descent. About 7 degrees to the runway, and I set our rate of descent at 5 degrees. So I'm thinking that should be pretty good. And then we'll get down. Again, more time warping. More time warping we go. Okay, we're getting a little bit of throttle now. Yeah, there's no way the McJeb Delta V stats are looking at throttle. Not a chance. So I'm comfortable. I'm pretty comfy. Angle to the runway is 8 degrees. Our rate of descent is 5 degrees. Our speed is 160. Let's reduce that down to 130. Just feels like we're not dropping fast enough. It still says 10 degrees, 5 degrees. Oh no! No, 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 no. What am I don't know what happened there. 15. Let's get down there. Yeah, also yeah. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I wasn't descending. No, I should have descended more than. Oh my gosh, that's why. My descent angle was not nearly high enough. I'm a rocket head. Okay, we're gonna need to slow down. Okay, I'm gonna quick save. And we are take the speed control off. You are leveling, right? Speed control off. Okay, and standard fly-by-wire. Oh. A little bit of speed. Oh, why are the brakes? Brakes are off. Oh, my flaps are still on, for goodness sakes. Okay, here we go. I'm okay. I got it. I got it. I got this. Okay, landing gear. Little throttle. Not exactly, this isn't exactly a glider. Okay, throttle off. Okay, I think I'm lined up pretty good. Altitude looks good, brakes on. Yeah. That's very little drama, I think. I don't know why. Okay, no. Okay. Oh, I love the squeal noises, but okay. There is something up with the steering. I got to figure that out. I'm gonna call that. Oh, it gave it to me. Okay, I'm gonna call that a win. We're upside down, but nothing broke. That's all that matters. Nothing broke. Okay, let's recover to the spaceplane hangar. There is something weird with the steering. It feels backwards, but and I remember feeling that in simulation, and I never addressed it. So I clearly need to address that. Okay, so George Bennett's off until June the 4th. We recovered 3.4 science. We have now 14.8 of the 15.4 science available in the Mach 2 flight. I'm still glad I made that decision. The decision that I did. We're done with that, done with that, done with that. We are recovering the J-57 fighter jet. That's just going to take a day. They're going to have to get a crane, unfortunately, for that one. But we did satisfy the conditions of the contract. Congratulations on a successful flight, 35 reputation, as well as we were on the runway for a little while before we flipped over. 12 reputation for that one. But I think that is going to have to end it for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you again for the next one.